Hello everyone, it's James from Keeping It Anime, and today we're talking episode 106 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, entitled Good Luck, Roboppi. Now this episode starts off with I and Roboppi basically talking about the structure in which Kusanagi constructed this whole diamond cube shape type of thing that everyone is in at the moment. And then I goes on to explaining a chart based on his personal opinion and his ego about where he thinks each duelist is ranked. And honestly speaking, with this chart, I don't like it at all. One thing in particular that I don't like. Kind of two things. So if we look at the chart, we've got Revolver at the top. Okay, fine, easy peasy, done. Soul Burner underneath. Yep. Go next to Soul Burner, but just slightly under. Okay. And then Aoi is underneath Go. Which, no, I don't believe that to be true. I honestly don't. Aoi should be above Go, in my personal opinion. But there's that. And then we got we got Blood Shepherd slightly above Emma. But then Emma's also near enough on the same sort of line. And then we've got all the Knights of Hanoi on the bottom row together. I think Spectre should be on another level than the other Knights of Hanoi. But again, those are just two things. So Aoi and Spectre are just the two kind of placements I would change up, if I'm perfectly honest, with this chart. But it's from I's point of view. Now, I does state that Playmaker is below everybody on this chart because Playmaker was only good because I was around. Obviously, because it's based on his ego, I is putting himself right at the parapet, at the top, higher than anybody else. But then Roboppi is lower than Playmaker, quite substantially. But that's because Roboppi hasn't had any dueling experience. So, I kind of says to him, beat some players, earn some experience points. And this kind of makes Roboppi see it as a game. And it's kind of sick when you think about Roboppi seeing it as a game when he's talking about human lives. He does this during the duel later on in the episode, saying that every human on the planet is like experience points for him to up his rank. Now that's kind of disgusting when you think about it from a logical and humatic point of view. But, you know, he's an AI. And he's been watching loads of humans do bad things like pollute the world and go to war with each other over silly strifes. So what is a little kid like that going to be, who's just got intelligence and free will, what is he realistically going to think? So from a logical point of view, you can see why Roboppi's kind of the way he is, but it's still quite dark to think about. And then after that, we go to I himself, and it turns out he's stalling the top three. So Playmaker, Revolver, and Soul Burner. He's trying to stall them, and he shows us some new cards from his deck. He shows us at Ignister Fire Phoenix, which is a Link 3 monster that has the effect that if it's destroyed by card effect from your opponents, destroy one card your opponents control. And at the end of your turn, at the start of your next turn, revive this card. And then he also shows us I Wall, which equip this to a link monster, and for each link marker that monster has, place a counter on this card. No player can attack as long as there are link markers on this card. So basically, if you have a link 3 like I does, you add 3 counters. If it's got 3 counters on the I wall, then no player can attack for 3 turns. Because after each turn, 1 counter gets taken off. However, if your opponent link summons, a counter is added on. So this leads to Revolver kind of figuring out that I is just basically stalling the main 3. So that's quite good. However, we find out that these 3 eyes are all in fact copies. And the real eye is actually going through and tearing up the defences. Like, he runs straight through Vyra and Gnome, And this leaves off with him going up against Thaus, but the next episode preview kind of spoils that because we see that I has confronted Go, and unless there's another copy, which I doubt it is, because I has some sort of vendetta against him for what happened to Earth and Soltech, then, you know, Thaus isn't really going to have much screen time. Surprise, surprise. He's a jabroni. All of this then, we then follow up with a Ghost Girl and Blood Shepherd team up against Roboppi. So it's 2 versus 1, so technically tag duels are back in, kind of. But will Ghost Girl and Blood Shepherd worked well together? From this episode it looks like they are, but Emma does keep saying and did point out that Blood Shepherd is selfish. And I don't know if they're both allowed to use their skills, but Blood Shepherd's already used up his skill, and if they can only use 1 per duel, per team, then that is selfish. But anyway, using the skill, Blood Shepherd managed to keep them in good shape for this duel. Now, Roboppi uses an appliancer deck, which does nicely fit his character, and when we first got introduced to these monsters, they look like plugs, they look like fans, hoovers, you know, one of them is like Elephant Hoover or something, and they had those weird sort of like, you know, the sockets and everything like that, and I wanted to see a massive monster combine and morph into one, and we kind of got that, but yeah. So one of his link monsters that he has can connect to his other link monsters that are co-linked with him. And if a monster is co-linked with the central monster, then the co-linked monster can gain 1000 attack points for every monster that is co-linked with it. So the central monster basically has 2 monsters co-linked, and then when the 2 co-linked monsters attack, they will get 2000 attack points each. Make sense? Now, the other aspect of his deck seems like it's all to do with destroying your enemy's monsters. Or, as Roboppi puts it, cleaning up. Because in this episode, he tries to get rid of one of Blood Shepherd's monsters and fails to do so. His response was, "Oh, I failed in my cleaning." Okay, they're kind of going with the cleaning punt because Roboppi is a house robot. I get it, but let's not have too many of these. One really nice thing is, though, that Emma's deck looks like it's had some improvement. She even gains a Link 4 monster in this episode called Altergeist Memory Glant, and it has 2800 attack points. We don't know his effect yet because the episode shortly ended after this was revealed to us. However, it is co-linked with Hexdia, which means Hexdia will gain those 2800 attack points, or 2800 attack points even, and this actually puts Ghost Girl into a very good position when facing off against Roboppi. So, all in all, this episode was pretty good. I quite liked it from a flow standpoint. I liked the fact that the copies are there to stall the main 3. I get the whole chart thing at the beginning with Ai's personality implemented, but I think that's sorely lacking. But maybe it's just a hint as to how we're going to have the duels play out. Looking at it right now, though, I can't really see anything like that happening. Anyway, if you guys have any thoughts about the episode, then let me know down in the comment section. I know I haven't listed every single new card that we got, and we did get quite a few new ones, considering Roboppi's archetype was revealed to us. But it's always worth going to watch the episode yourself, if you haven't already done so, to gain the full experience of learning all of these stuff. So, with the animation being okay throughout, nothing spectacular in this episode and nothing drastically terrible, with all the voice acting being spot on and pretty good, this episode is highly worth the watch, especially since the story is flowing nicely and we're getting tag duels again. my biggest criticism, like I said, was the chart, and the fact that Violet and Gnome were just basically off-screen one-shotted. I wanted to see him do a little bit more, but what are you gonna do? Anyway guys, that's going to do it for this review. I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new so you never miss a video from me. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. And well, keep it anime. Goodbye.